black boy to being this grotesque statue, because now he's dead. He's rigor mortis is sitting, so he's like a statue.
Mm-hmm.
And he's became grotesque, like an impressionist. So they rearranged things. His eye was gone. There was a hole through his head.
Yeah. That one touches me every time. It's hard to listen. It's a hard listen, but it's an easy listen because it's such a great poem, and you can tell you did a lot of research for it and you put a lot of thought into it. So it doesn't surprise me that that's a poem that you would perform with Nikki Giovanni. Yeah, that one hurt. Talk to me about a black man coming to grips with himself.
Woo. Assume the position. That's the name of the poem.
Uh-huh.
It's called Assume the Position. I actually wrote that poem, at a time in my life when I felt like I just started, I had been at the world stage for a little while, and I felt like I was really finding myself as a poet. And Peter J. Harris used to always tell me, you gotta own your own shit.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta own your own shit. And
say more about that.
I was just, Peter and Michael, Peter Harris, Michael Datcher, I really gravitated to those two brothers, and I was just talking and, always sharing stuff with Peter, and he was just saying, if we're gonna be grown men, grown black men, we have to learn how to own our own stuff, good, bad, and different. And that's what a poet does. They own their own stuff. They're willing, to say, I'm fucked up or I'm good,
Mm-hmm.
You're just willing to own who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're not afraid of it anymore. You're not running away from yourself. And that's what that poem was. It was a poem to reaffirm to myself that I'm a black man. I'm a black poet. And, and I know who I am. And I'm not afraid to stand in that. I'm not afraid to own it. So
I love it.
that's what that poem is about. I'm not hating on anybody. It's not to the diminishment of anyone else for me to own who I am.
Right.
For me to be who I am.
The good, the bad.
Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that poem too. So give me a favorite from this album. What's the name of the album that I'm talking about?
Unsettled Water.
Unsettled Water. Give me a favorite from Unsettled Water.
I don't know. I like a Declaration of Defendants.
Yes.
Is one of my favorites because it sort of speaks to the old and then it speaks to the new. It speaks to the old because it's talking about the systematic and structural racism that have been in this country.
Mm-hmm.
But it also talks about the way that image looks today, the way that they're trying to retell the story of slavery.
Yes.
In the South, they're having these what they call secessionist balls. These Southern people, they're having these debutante type of balls where they celebrate the Confederacy and they celebrate slavery and all of this other stuff, and that's the face of the new South, of the new racism in the South, where they are trying to retell the story as though slavery and racism and all those things that existed didn't really exist. They try to put a bow on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what that poem is about. So I really like it a lot, and that's why when you get to the end, the poem basically says, we didn't have founding fathers. We only had motherfuckers. That's all we had. So that one is really close to me. Really, 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 really special to me. And Father, Another Man's Son.
Don't even bring it up because I was going there. I was going there.
Yeah.
How do you father another man's son?
Yeah.
Is such a manuscript, not a manuscript. What are the words that I'm looking for? Like how to do something.
Like a blueprint.
Blueprint.
Yeah.
It's such a blueprint. I love you said my son ain't never made no difference between me and biology or me.
Don't never make no difference.
Oh, I love that. I mean, and I'm such an advocate of that. My son is, he has a stepmother, but we don't have steps in our family.
Right. Exactly.
We don't have steps and fractions and furniture in our family.
And that's what that poem is about. I mean, it's not just that. It's even about your own son. It's even about kids that are not your stepchildren, just children you may be mentoring and stuff like that. How do you father another man's son?